It is 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're about to cast off across the Strait of Gibraltar. So, Strait of Gibraltar, hey? It's infamous among sailors for its crazy changing currents and for wind gusts funneling between the two continents for heavy commercial traffic and the latest edition, orcas. Yep, those orcas. The ones that like to play with the rudders of sailboats, break them off, worst case scenario, sink your boat altogether. That's where we're going next. But first we have to clear out here in Hoceima in Morocco, and we have to sail 90 nautical miles towards Ceuta, which is a Spanish enclave right at the entrance of the Strait of Gibraltar. Ready to clear out?
I am. I hope they are, because it's 2 and I don't know about the Moroccan siesta.
Officially, you're not allowed to sail during the night as a pleasure vessel in Morocco. So when we asked to clear out at 7, they said, no way. But because it's like 90 nautical miles to go to Ceuta, we won't be able to make it in a day trip. So Flo somehow arranged with them that they're going to clear us out at 2. Alright, so passports, boat registry, and insurance. Those are the things we need. Oh, and the paper, because drones are illegal in Morocco. So we got like a little paper because they're storing the drones for the time that we're here. So we need to make sure we take that thing along so we get our drones back. Alrighty, let's see how that goes. And we're off. Already leaving Morocco again. Clearing out was super straightforward. Lots of people have said that it takes like 2 to 3 hours. I can't copy that. We did have to wait a little bit because the police is taking our passports, bringing them to the place where they stamp them, and then comes back by car. So that takes maybe, 15 minutes. So the total process with coming on board and checking everything, maximum an hour in our case, I'd say. So not too bad. There's tons of little fishing pangas around us and in front of us, which is no surprise because the whole village is packed with fishing boats and nets and people sitting there and repairing the nets. So this was quite expectable. Sometimes it's tricky to know where the nets are at, and if you're actually looking at a seagull or a buoy from the nets. And most of the nets, as I've seen on land, are not sinking nets, but they're actually nets that stay on the surface. So whenever I know that there's a lot of fishing going on, I usually go over to the fishing boats and I'll look at their gear to see whether they're fishing with long lines or nets that sink or nets that float, and what kind of signaling they're usually using to indicate that there's a net, so you know kind of like what to look out for. And there's one in front of us. I guess that most of you have heard about the orca attacks in the Strait of Gibraltar. Now, statistically, apparently, boats with long keels, because the rudder is not as easy to get off, they're not the main object for orcas. I don't know, I think it's 1%, 4%. I'd have to look it up again. We have a long keel and no free rudder, so... But yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. The captain is already totally out of it. Or maybe he's on horse tranquilizer. I'm not sure. Either or. We have no wind as forecasted. The sea's pretty smooth. It is sunny, but it's cold. It's really cold. The nights actually right now, they're just a couple of degrees above 0. So I think it will be really freezing tonight. past midnight. It's super calm. I just started my shift. It's only another 30 nautical miles to go. We're pretty fast. There has been 2 encounters during Flo's shift with fishing boats. They have super big nets out here, and the nets are lit, but not entirely. So he did see the lights and he tried to move around the lights, but then the boat came zooming towards him, like flashing the lights and like yelling at him. And then he realized that pretty close to the boat there was those little floaty things that are keeping the net on the surface. Luckily he had disengaged the gear, so nothing happened. And he didn't go over it, but it was pretty close. It's 4:45 in the morning. We're basically in the, like, nearly in the Strait of Gibraltar right now. So you can feel that we have a bit of current against us. It's a bit more wobbly than it was before. We're about to approach Ceuta. It's another 3.5 miles, more or less. We got to Ceuta this morning around 5. And it was still pitch dark. So we dropped the hook here just outside the harbor. We caught up on 2-3 hours of sleep and waited until there's light. And now we're gonna move into the marina. Hercules, I think is the name. I just called them and they said no problem, you can come in. You have to call the port authorities before entering the harbor because there has been an issue with a ferry. And I can see the Gibraltar rock. That's pretty cool. I think someone wants to make a point. Control de Puerto Ceuta, control de Puerto Ceuta por velero Santana. ¿Me copia?
Recibido, tenéis de salida un mercante, se llama Anilistesberger.
So it looks that we have one ferry coming in, but they're still a little bit away, and then there's another cargo ship coming out. Ah, there it is. The red one there. Man, those ferries are super fast. But I think we're mainly out of his way, because I doubt that he's going to go into the pleasure vessel harbor. Probably in here or there. Oh, he's going over there. We spent 2 nights in Ceuta now, resting up a little bit and planning the journey ahead, but it seems the more I'm researching the crossing ahead of us, the more my head starts spinning. It seems that there's no such thing as the perfect time to cross the Strait of Gibraltar. The winds, the currents, the orcas, pretty much everything feels out of our control. So the only thing we actually can plan is the time when we want to start the journey. So we've picked a very narrow window where the winds are very low and the tidal currents are mainly in our favor, especially in the beginning. And we've actually planned to motor the entire stretch just to make sure we get out of it as fast as possible. Sailing, of course, would be more fun, but the winds channeling through this narrow stretch, this can easily turn this whole area into a massive pressure cooker, and we don't want to be the main course for that. As for the orcas, officially right now they're further north than where we are, but we're using this app where we can see recent sightings and recent attacks, and there has been a sighting a couple of days ago, and there has even been an attack a couple of days ago right in the area that we're gonna cross. But the only way out is right through, so I guess we don't really have a choice and there's no turning back now. So wish us luck. We're leaving Ceuta in the early morning hours with darkness still hanging over the sea as we begin our crossing of the Strait of Gibraltar. It feels almost surreal to watch our tiny GPS trace a path through this narrow stretch between two massive continents. It brings back memories of transiting the Panama Canal with my boat Carl. That same mix of anticipation and awe. For now, the sea's calm, but we're fully alert, wide awake, and ready for whatever lies ahead. It seems that our calculations are working out so far. We're 2 hours into the journey. We just had maybe an hour where we had currents against us, and it's already been letting up quite a bit. We just had a live stream with patrons. Make sure that you sign up for Patreon or for YouTube channel membership if you also want to join live on crazy moments like this when we move from one ocean to the other, which probably is not going to happen so soon again, but
We can turn around.
it's really pretty. The light is amazing, and you have like the mountains here on the Moroccan side, and then you can see the Rock of Gibraltar in our back. This is the spot where there was an orca attack just 4 days ago. Anxiety level is up. Capitano, how does it feel?
It feels like this right now is the Atlantic, because that piece of rock over there marks the most narrow section of the Strait of Gibraltar.
Woohoo! Welcome, Atlantic! Oh, that's exciting. Not in Kansas anymore.
I've never been in the Atlantic on my own boat. I really like that. So I'm hoping for the longer waves now. I'm talking about this since we left. That I do not want to have these choppy, short Mediterranean waves anymore.
Yeah, and apparently that's going to be the case. I just did the weather check for our next voyage, which will be from Tangier down to Rabat. And the frequency of the waves is going up from like 4 to 6 seconds here in the Med to a comfortable 12 to 15 seconds. So that is a major difference, because
We hope so.
even, at least that's what the forecast is saying, yeah. Because even half a meter of waves, if you have 4 to 6 seconds frequency, whoa. And because they bounce back here everywhere from the land, so they get so steep and so choppy. Oh, it's magical. The sun is coming up and everything is like glowing. It's beautiful. We chose a beautiful day to head into the Atlantic. As we approach the hazy outline of Tangier, I feel the weight on my chest slowly lift. No drama, no funneling wind, no surprise currents, and no orcas. We've crossed the Strait of Gibraltar, and we're in the Atlantic. And we're back in Morocco. This crossing was a powerful reminder just how humbling the life on a sailboat can be. And now, let's dive into the vibrant taste of Morocco. The Medina in Tangier is a maze of narrow alleys, vibrant doors, and crumbling stone staircases, echoes of centuries past layered with Moroccan tradition and a dash of international flair. For much of the 20th century, Tangier was a diplomatic melting point under international control, and you can still feel that blend in its architecture, street life, and stories whispered through the walls. Lots of dead ends. Another dead end. These streets just end in people's houses because people live here, obviously. Everything is super narrow and colorful, beautiful patterns. All the doors are extremely pretty. There's a ton of murals and a lot of plants, and it smells of really delicious food, like some stew. And there's a million cats. It's good that we left the dogs at home, and they're kind of feisty. I think they have very particular rules about who's allowed to do what. After weaving our way through the colorful street market, surrounded by the scent of spices and dried herbs, we had definitely worked up an appetite. Luckily, we stumbled upon a tiny local eatery tucked away behind the market stalls. No frills, no tourists, just the kind of place that instantly felt right up our alley.
Loubia, une fois. Wahda.
Et comment s'appelle ça?
Loubia.
Loubia.
Loubia, très bon, très bon.
This was another great taste of Morocco, rich in flavor, color, and warmth. But with a promising weather window on the horizon, it's already time to untie the lines again and continue our journey south toward Rabat. And more about that next week.